Sometimes I meet people, right, and you can tell they've been through pain, but what I find so beautiful about some people is they'll go through so much pain, but I can see that they've grown as a result of it. It's the type of thing where it's like, if you didn't have all this pain, I don't think you'd be a beautiful person as you are. And that obviously isn't about physical pain. It's like the beauty of the soul, really. And there's something so nice and there's something so endearing about someone who has been treated like absolute fucking shit, but they still find it within themselves to be genuine, be kind, and just be the opposite of what they've shown their whole life. I think back on a lot of people in my life, I notice a reoccurring theme that they're all people who've been through a lot of pain, but the ones who've stuck around are the people who've experienced pain, but they've grown as a result to it, and obviously that is much harder to find than your just like stereotypical traumatized person, because the thing is, a lot of people can survive on like a daily basis or whatever with trauma, but it takes a lot to willingly change fucked up habits you developed and just change so many things about yourself. I feel like you can look into someone's eyes and tell if they've been through pain, or maybe it's just like a kind of like common recognition that I have, just because I know I just pick up on this shit like very fucking easily or whatever, but and I find it weird how many people have been offering me help and stuff like that, and I always knew my family like were fucking useless, to be honest with you, and there was just so many problems wrong with both sides, probably more my mother than my dad's, but they're both fucked up in their own manners, but it's almost like everything worked out in the end, and I didn't realise, and I suppose I'm really starting to view the good qualities in life, and I think I know this was coming from a good place or whatever, but there's something so arrogant about someone who has not even been through like anything comparable to the amount of pain you've been through, telling you to view the positive aspects of life, when there is nothing fucking positive really about your life, and there's something so fucking condescending about that. Even when I know they meant it in a positive, like in a good manner, but it's like sometimes the fucking intentions don't matter. Don't say some fucking shit to some people. People I have in my life in the current moment, I love them so deeply, and for the longest time I wouldn't have ever felt comfortable using the word love to describe anyone, because the main person I used to say I loved was my mother, and it was this huge thing where it's like I always had to say I loved her, and for the longest time I did mean it when I said it, but that was because I was just like so young and so manipulated, and just, because even with how closed off I am nowadays, and even with all that, I still do have a big heart, and I still, even though I don't like admitting it, I do have a lot of feelings, you know, and I fucking hate that, you know, and I know I intellectualize my feelings, and I know that I just use logic because it feels safer than actually expressing my feelings, and feelings are scary, you know, and I even feel weird saying I'm happy right now. That feels weird to say because I don't acknowledge my feelings, you know. I can just about say I love people nowadays, you know, but the thing is, I should so easily be able to say that, because like generally there's some people when I haven't spoken to them for a bit, I feel like I can't breathe, you know. It's almost like a dependency, you know, and I feel like that is unhealthy in its own sense, because I need some people to regulate myself, and you know, but you know, and I there's something so inherently ironic about someone as hyper independent as me, and who just hates relying on anyone, being so reliant on some people to regulate my emotions, you know. Like there's two people in particular. Every time something bad happens in my life, I talk to one more about the other than about it, but one of the traits I admire so highly is resilience, you know. But like, it's the type of resilience, but you end up a good person, you know. I think there's something inherently shallow that like lacks depth about someone who's kind, but they've only been they all they know is kindness, you know. It's kind of like, oh, like if someone is like people pleasing, for example, or whatever, well, that doesn't, like, that comes out of trauma most likely. But if someone is a complete and utter people pleaser and they're nice to you, does that niceness, is that even genuine, you know? Like, when someone is actually actively choosing to be a kind person or whatever, that is the most genuine type of kindness around, you know. So that's when I love when I meet people who've done nothing more than like have struggled with their lives, they're resilient, and they decided, fuck it, you know what, fuck what happened to me, I want to be a good person, I want to do good things, you know. I want to help people, and I want to make the people I care about better as a result of knowing me, you know. And you know, but then there is some people I meet who they're inherently very giving, they're very loving, but it just feels different, you know. And I'm not saying, like, I do think it is a good thing if there's loving people, because all they've ever seen is love. I inherently do think that's a very good thing. But maybe that type of person maybe that's better suited to other people, you know. And it's also just different values, you know. Like, I think a big reason why I like fellow fucked up traumatized people, recovering traumatized people, is because they'll kind of understand if I just like disappear for a day, or if I just keep on crying and I don't know why, and stuff like that, you know. And I think maturity is another thing I value so highly, you know. Like, you know, there's some people, you meet them and, you know, they're older than you, or like they don't act their fucking age. They're like, a lot of people are like legally adults, but they're mentally not, you know. And like, I think Emotional regulation is a huge insight on someone's maturity and someone's mental wellness, because I feel like a lot of people from my family, they would be very emotionally unstable, and it's the type of thing where it's like, I find it crazy that it's some people's norms to yell every day, like, even with everything I've been through, I don't even feel the need to yell, cry, or do any of this extreme shit, like, every day. And, like, ye will never understand the depths of pain I've been through. But all I'm saying is, it was like fucking, yeah, it was bad. Like, it was really, 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 really fucking bad. Like, I don't think there's enough words in the English language to describe the depths of absolute, complete, utter pain and desperation I experienced, but there's some people, maybe it's just because they're not as resilient, or maybe they're more predisposed for some mental illnesses, or maybe they just like suffer from bipolar disorder, or they're just like the stereotypical reactor, which is basically a trauma response, where it's like you basically feel the need to absolutely rage and yell at people to try to deal with your own with your own trauma. But it's like some people genuinely feel the need to just like yell all the time, and it's like, I never want to be that person. I want to have kids, I want to take in kids, I want to adopt and foster as many kids as I can, really. And it's the type of thing where it's like, I feel like people throw around the words, I love you, and like, oh, I love my family, and they throw around the words love, and they say it, but a load of people, there's absolutely no meaning behind it. People say they love you, but then their actions show you the complete and utter opposite. And it's the type of thing where it's like, can someone, like, I don't even understand how someone can look you in the face and say, I love you, when their actions just say the opposite. Can you really love someone if you cut them down every chance you get? Can you really love someone if you will always put your selfish needs over them? Can you really say you love someone if everything you do says the opposite? I think, I don't know. But then I think some people try to use family bonds and love and like all of that as like a way to fucking just like get away with doing shitty actions. I don't know, like, a lot of people just use the love label and family and all of that as a way to kind of like keep an echo chamber, and an echo chamber is basically just like, let's say, like, I'm just going to use a household for example. It's like a household where it's just one voice, like one opinion is like, one opinion is the only one allowed, and then it's like, you're basically, everyone in that household is just reflecting the same opinion, and there's no discussion or like anything that's able to be like refuted, or like disagreement or anything about that, like, necessarily, and like a lot of families, it's just very fucked up, and I feel like I do only, like, do you know, like the way on the coin or whatever, there's like heads and tails. I feel like I only speak about tails, but like, to be honest, that's only what I've been shown. So it does make like a lot of logical sense that I do only show one perspective. Maybe some of these dysfunctional, fucked up people do think they are showing you love. Maybe they are so mentally unwell they actually do think they love you, but I suppose that also is a reflection of the love they've received. you know? It's kind of like they've been shown so little actual fucking love throughout their life. They think just because they're doing something slightly better than their parents, and I'm not physically hitting my kids, you know, I'm not physically hitting my kids, I'm better than my parents were. But the reality is you're still traumatizing them, and like fucking them up, and probably destroyed their attachment style when you're at it, probably killed their self-esteem, probably like raised their cortisol levels, and probably just like fucked up whatever future romantic relationships they're gonna have, which will continue the cycle of fucking generational trauma that is just happening to a lot of families. Definitely happened to mine anyway. Yeah. Sometimes my like I just take a look at like everything that's happened to me, and sometimes I just like take a fucking look at my family and I just like laugh. This is actually something I fucking really want to look into, but I think research has been done on Holocaust survivors, like the grandchildren, and it's like there's still stuff in their genes which is like irregular, as in there's like the scientists made the correlation that the reason those grandkids have something worse going on is because of like what's been passed down, and obviously being in the Holocaust was absolutely a really fucking horrific, traumatic experience, which I will never understand, and none of us will ever understand. Well, I fucking hope not, unless there's what is 0.0000000 point whatever percent that a Holocaust survivor is watching this. But with how statistics work and with how life works, maybe. I think I have such self-belief myself that I know that when I die, even if I don't have the inherent success I want in life, I do have a feeling my thoughts and my like ideas and my poems or my philosophy ideas or whatever, I do have a feeling that they will be recognized. Hopefully I will do everything in my power to make sure that they are recognized in the lifetime I live. But was it Vincent van Gogh? Or what fucking painter was it? Or is it Leonardo da Vinci? That is something I need to fuck's sake. I used to be really into art. I should know this shit. But one of those painters, like, they only got famous after they died. I think it was Van Gogh who cut off half his ear. Yeah. I'm happy though. I'm strangely happy. Like, obviously, when you meet someone who is most things you really like in a person, and then it's obvious they have been through pain or whatever, it's inherently it's so bittersweet, because it's like you do start to care about them, and you're like, I know I am not the reason you've been through all this, and I know I didn't know you back then, and I know that I have absolutely no responsibility over what happened to you, but you still feel so utterly sorry that such a beautiful person went through that, But I suppose you counteract that by being a good person in their life and being supportive. I don't really know. I don't know. My best friend, my rock, he says that I help people too much, and I have like a lot of instances in my life where I'm just trying to create the whole like codependent relationship I had with my mother with like a lot of people, you know. And he basically said to me, Nisha, I guarantee you, every single person in your life at the moment, if you consider them close, and even if you consider them acquaintance, or even if you consider them whatever, I guarantee whenever they're sad, you're trying to cheer them up. And I guarantee, you know, you take care of everyone in your life. And he said, Nisha, you need to stop. You don't need to take care of everyone, you know. And then I'd mentioned to him, oh, this person or whatever, and I was like, I was like, oh, it didn't work out between us. Oh, I know he's struggling. Should I just I popped him a message there, like, oh, is he okay? And then he was like, Nisha, if he wanted your help, he would have asked for it. Everyone in your life knows that if they actually need fucking help, they'll go to you because they know you'll be there. So all these people that you're like, oh, I need to check up on, and oh, you're still worried about it, no, you're still thinking about, they know where I am. They know where to find me. They can pop me a message. They can call me. You know, if they message me, I'd do everything in my power to fucking be, like, probably go to the town where they're at or wherever the fuck they live, you know. Or I'd at the very least call them, you know. I'd at the very least fucking message them. I'd write them a fucking letter and get a pigeon to deliver it if I have to, you know. And it's the type of thing was like, if anyone has ever been close to me in my life, they should know that, you know. So honestly, when he pointed out to me, I felt a bit stupid. You know, I feel like I was trying, like, for the longest time, I was trying to help people, and I was always worried about it. So many people, you know, and the reality is, if they needed my fucking help, they would have asked for it. You know, just because someone is struggling doesn't mean I need to help them. Even with how much I want to, some people just don't want to accept help. You know, and there's something so ironic in me, you know, because I'm such a hyper independent, self-sufficient person, and but then I want to help people. But then I'm also such a big believer in individuality and helping yourself. So like, it's like I'm a fucking hypocrite. You know, I am the last person ever that will accept help unless I absolutely fucking need it. But then I'm offering my help to people who don't even want it. You know? And I find that crazy. You know, we all have fucking stuff we haven't healed from. You know, and we all have things in our life which, we're all human really. And even with how much I wish I was perfect, I know I'm not perfect, you know. And maybe I just wish I never made mistakes with people, even though I've made so many mistakes with people, you know. I know I've hurt people. I know I have. I just wish, you know, I don't know. I think being human obviously being human is confusing, you know. Slight angle change, but sorry, Sharokit. There are some people who have had huge impacts on me, but because they've changed who they are, I no longer continue being in their life, you know. There's some people, if I had met them the way they are now, I wouldn't have felt that way about them. You know, I wouldn't have cared about them that much. You know, like, there's some people where it's like you meet them and they have this like spark to them, you know, and then you kind of, yeah, you know, they have this absolute spark, and you're like, I was almost like mesmerized by it, you know. And then as time goes by, you still like talk to that person, you still like run into him, and every time you see him, you still are happy to see them. But then you slowly but surely just see their spark fade, and maybe it's because they're who they're surrounded by, maybe it's because of their friends, maybe it's because of whatever the fuck they're doing with their life, maybe it's because of substances, God only fucking knows. I don't know, maybe they got a fucking I don't know, whatever logical fucking whatever's, but there's some people, if I had met them the way that they were, I wouldn't have became friends with them or anything like that, you know. There's a lot of people where it's like, I don't necessarily regret any, like, being close to anyone I've ever met in my life, because I suppose they did help me grow into the person I am today, and they did help me kind of figure out, oh, this is a red flag, this is a red flag. I learned and grew as a result of them. But then at the same fucking time, if I had knew some of the shit I had knew back then, I was like, oh my God, I wouldn't have gone near him with a 10-foot fucking pole, like, you know. But sure, look, we're all young, we've all made mistakes, you know. Sure, look, either way, I think I'm gonna leave it here. Maybe I just need to, like, start getting up early in the morning and just fucking filming in nature. Maybe that's the key to fucking inner thinking. I swear to God, I did not take any microdoses of anything. I swear. Please forget sleeping.